Hey Shrikopaths. Every game has a worst character. It's inevitable. They can't all be great. The worst 5-star though, they're still usually good, only with 1 or 2 serious shortcomings. But the worst 4-star in a game doesn't even get that. They are completely shafted. That character for Black Beacon is none other than Enki. Now we know he's bad, but in this video we'll dig into exactly why he's bad, and see if we can maybe find a way to make him not so bad. I'm Shrike, like, comment, and subscribe for more gacha content. Oh, and I've created my very own Discord, and everybody is welcome, as long as you've got a love for gacha games, or even just one of the games I cover. I think you'll have a nice time. Link will be in the description. Hope to see you there. Let's dive right into his build. Okay, so Enki is considered a sub-DPS of the water element. And sure, he functions somewhat like a water element Viola, but he's supposedly also a debuffer. But coming off of the Otzi video, this guy is far from a debuffer. But let's start with his build. The game recommends Sage's Heart and Terracotta General, one for his off-field support role, and the other because he deals a lot of chase damage. And they seem to want us to build him for personal damage. But in addition to those, we can fit a golden branch to help him build up the stasis effect, and another of this shape. I'm using Jade Crane. It's not really crucial, but it can hurt. As for stats, look for damage. So I'm focusing on crit rate and crit damage primarily, and then some water damage. But you can also build him Elemental Anomaly Mastery, Water Damage, and Pierce to focus a bit on the anomaly side. Either build does want some water damage, so it's never a bad thing to put it on him. Let's look at his skill kit. Basic attack is useless and not part of his rotation. I'll give you a hint, his rotation is incredibly simple. Skill 1 says it throws an energy orb, but he just puts it down in front of him. It does some damage while it's sitting there, not much, but some, and then it disappears after a bit. Only one can exist at a time. Skill 2 swings his weapon in a forward arc. That's literally all it does. But if there's an energy orb in its path, it'll send it flying forward, and hopefully hit the enemy. The passive is why the skill 2 can interact with the energy orb, and it also states that once you've launched the orb twice, once it hits the enemy it will turn into a rotating fan of energy orbs that behave much like Nana's spinning blades. These are what will deal chase damage. The ultimate is a few instances of damage rather than the typical one that most units have, which is why we put the Jade Crane on him. Skill priority goes to the passive, which governs the damage the exploding energy orbs deal, as well as that of the spinning orbs, which are the main part of his kit. The ultimate will be next since it governs 3 different stats, the stage 1 damage, stage 2 damage, and 3 stages damage of his ultimate. The rest of the skills beyond this aren't important. Really, it's just the energy orb we care about, and his ultimate. The only notable talent I see is 2. It says that his energy orb now pulls the enemy towards it, which will help since it's stationary and enemies like to move around. This will help corral them and hopefully deal more damage. Notable potentials are 2 and 6. 3 isn't bad, but 2 and 6 are better. 2 states that enemies hit by the energy orb's explosion get a debuff, damage resistance reduction. And this is all he needed apparently to be considered a debuffer. Outrageous if you ask me. But potential 6 gives his energy orb a big explosive finale, dealing 500 chase damage. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the bold claim that Enki absolutely needs his P6 in order to even hope to be used to any degree of success. That as well as his exclusive weapon, which provides his only other debuff, an attack reduction for 3 seconds while the energy orbs are spinning. It also gives the spinning orbs little explosions that deal 300% chase damage. Not really something we can pass up on with such a weak character. He needs all the help he can get. Now onto the combat. We know how to build him, we know he needs his dupes and his exclusive weapon, and now we'll see how to play him. As I said, it's very simple. You probably grasped it perfectly just reading his kit, and it really is that simple. Place down his orb with skill 1, whack it with skill 2, it hits the enemy, it bounces back to you, and you hit it back again. That's the second time you've launched it, so then it turns into a spinning energy orb fan and starts dealing chase damage. This is the point where you can swap him out. If you miss the orb when it bounces back to you, you can just place another one down and launch it. It still counts as having launched it twice, so it will still turn into the spinning orb blades. Tiny little debuffs while these orbs are flying around will also help you out a little, but he is mostly a damage dealer. So we'll swap him in, launch the orb, get it spinning, and then swap him out. S1, S2, S2. That's it. and then his ultimate as soon as it's ready. It's not part of his rotation, but it shouldn't be ignored. It deals multiple instances of damage, like I said, so the Jade Crane actually provides him more value than it does to other units. Team section now. He's your sub DPS. So pair him with a good DPS, not a Nana or an Erashan. He really needs a carry. So Licha, Florence, Ching, that kind of thing. And then a support in the third slot. For Ching, you may as well go Mono Water and put Asti in. Her buff will affect his orbs as well as Ching's attacks, so you get a 2-for-1 there. If it's Florence or Licha, I would suggest a unit that can boost the team's damage, so Atsi or Zero. Licha probably wants Atsi more, so a Licha, Atsi, and Enki team could work. And Florence usually hangs out with Hefe, but you can get away with a Zero here, because Enki really needs that extra damage boost to really dish it out. And he's directly competing with Viola here in everything but the element, and she's a really good sub DPS with a very simple rotation. So I think that this is probably what makes him so bad. Low base stats because he's a 4-star, and Viola just outshines him in almost every way. One way she doesn't, however, is in the water team. I really wish he had a more useful element, but it is what it is. He can really boost the efficiency of the water team. I took Ching, Asti, and Enki into a Darius battle, and this guy was basically in stasis mode for half the match. A lot of swapping to get Asti's field down and Enki's orbs spinning, and then Darius kept trying to leave the danger area, so that was annoying, but it worked. I think if I was going to change one thing about him in order to make him viable, I think I would increase the amount of orbs that can be on the field at a time to something crazy like 10, even after they're spinning. So if you really want to lean into your Enki, if this guy is your main for some reason, you could keep him out there, constantly baseballing energy orbs at the enemy and have multiple spinning orb blades around the map, some timing out only to be replaced with others, all building up the stasis bar so you could effectively permanently freeze the enemy. But it would take a lot of work, and he would only be frozen. It would still take a while for the blades and orbs to kill him, but the people who love his playstyle would love that kind of thing. And it wouldn't be broken at all, because there are much faster ways to kill an enemy, so it would still be balanced. But it would give him a lot more usefulness in my opinion. But as it stands, he really just can't compete with Viola. And with that being said, I'm gonna fly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.